Good evening and welcome to what is now episode 11 of our Eagles Nesting series, while we all stay at home to protect the NHS and social care and save lives. Hope you're all well, doing okay, and getting through this lockdown together. We are missing basketball, but hopefully all of these games that are bringing back from the archives are helping you get through with your basketball and Eagles fix. We've had some great memories and we've looked back at some great games, some huge moments in the club's history, from trophy wins to the opening of Sports Central, of course, our former home, in our last Nesting on Wednesday's episode. We did last weekend talk about a game that was in the depths of the archives and we wonder whether or not we could get it back. Well, for tonight's episode, as in the season that we're currently in the 2010-11 season, we unfortunately didn't lift any silverware. We were the bridesmaid, but not the bride, winning, I think came second in the league and making our way to 3 semi-finals, but not actually getting to lift a piece of silverware in that season. There were, though, still some absolutely amazing games of basketball played by our Eagles. And one of them we talked about a little bit in that Nesting last Sunday, and we've managed to find it in our archives. And tell us a bit more about that is my guest on the Nesting last Sunday and now joining us again. Welcome back, Dave Forrester.
Hi, Dan.
So, Dave, you're assistant coach, as we discussed, in this season, obviously right through up until now as well. And this game is not even a home game. It's away. We're on the road. We're in Glasgow. And it's a really special game for our Eagles under exceptional circumstances, which just makes it all the more exciting to watch, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was an interesting season that year because nothing really went to plan the way it was meant to. And when I say that, the game that we saw last week, the Sheffield game, the first game of the season at Sports Central, we played that without Trey. Trey was our starting point guard that year, but it took us about a month to get him in on a visa. So he missed the first 5 or 6 games. And then we did quite well up until Christmas and went on various runs. Lost in the semi-final of the Cup to Mersey in a game which really I think we probably should have won, a second leg. And then just as we were coming into kind of the mid part of the main part of the league season, we were in good position, second in the league. Glasgow were at the top of the league for most of the beginning of the year. We hit upon just an absolute mess of a month, whereby to start with we had to play Mersey Tigers, who that year were very, very strong. No British team with Drew Sullivan and Tafari Tony, who played for us, and Andy Thompson, who was yet to play for us, and Perry Lawson, who played for us, and also some really talented British players, James Jones, Nate Reinking, and Dave Aliu, and Drew Sullivan. Obviously, he also played for us. So they were a heck of a team, and we played them. We drew them again in the semi-final of the trophy, and we played down in Manchester in the first leg and got beat and drew the game, tied the game 82-all. And then in the second leg, we lost by 2, and we turned the ball over in the last minute of the game and lost the game. And so we're all a bit down about that. We had a football, we were ready to go for the league, and this is probably the beginning of February. And then I get a phone call from Paul on Monday morning after that Friday night game, where we're all a bit down, saying that Fab's been rushed into hospital because he's got some form of infectious disease. It ended up being bacterial pneumonia, and he was in the infectious diseases ward in the RVI for the next 2 weeks, and basically out of the picture, which obviously wasn't a brilliant time for it, just coming off a loss, and with I think 4 double-header weekends coming up, and with at best an inexperienced assistant coach, i.e. me. That's it. I've been there for best part of a year, no more. And then we had to kind of carry on. So we carried on, and the first game was down in Essex, and we won down in Essex against a young team. And then we played 2 home games, and we beat Plymouth, and everything was going really quite well. I was quite enjoying it. And we were just about to beat Cheshire, with about 7 minutes to go in the game, when Joe fell over, Joe Chapman. And he was like, what's happened there? Well, he tore his Achilles, and people who were there will remember he actually tore his Achilles on the floor at Sports Central, not actually doing anything, in effect, just moving towards the basketball. So that was a Friday night, and the schedule had us playing against the top of the table team, Glasgow, in Glasgow on the Sunday. And because we had Fab out and we had Joe out and Jamie was with us that year, and Jamie was injured as well, we were left with 7 guys to go up to Glasgow to play against a team who was top of the league but hadn't beaten us for about 5 years, and who was desperate to beat us. And Glasgow at those days played in a place called the Kelvin Hall, where the athletics venue was. And it's kind of quite a tight indoor venue. And it's four-sided, so they had seats on all the behind the basket as well, which is very rare for the BBL in those days, to have seats which literally impinge on the court behind the basket. And we took, this is the game we're going to watch, and we took, I think, a busload of fans up. And to be honest, one of the reasons I think Stu has got this game out for us to watch is because a number of fans on the Facebook site have mentioned the game, and it sticks in the memory for a number of different reasons. But one of them was there was some significant controversy about the Rocks cheerleaders, who every time we shot foul shots would stand next to the basket, and according to certainly our players on a couple of occasions would be actually so close to the basket and even standing on the stanchion that the basket was moving. So there was some complaints made about this, but our fans clearly weren't very happy. And our fans were actually located behind the basket on the right-hand side at the far end. So in the second half, when Glasgow started shooting foul shots and at those ends, our fans decided that they would become impromptu cheerleaders and relocated. And I don't know where, I think Jamie Glenn's family might have something to do with this. And relocated themselves just a few seats along around the basket to do exactly the same thing.
I hope we can actually see this in the video, by the way, which we have got coming up shortly. I mean, we do, and you mentioned Stu there as well, and Les. We have to thank them for just being absolutely fantastic volunteers and helping us keep all these archives and the videos all together through the years. I mean, we talked a little bit briefly on our website about our wings team this week and the amazing volunteers that we have that make everything possible. The guys have given us a huge amount of support through all the years, all over, up and down the country. And this is a great example game, isn't it, of the fantastic traveling support with Les and Stu and the rest of the UTA that go up and down the country and show their support for you guys.
Oh, it was incredible. It was this game was a real team effort, because there was, on the bench was me, Jeff King, who was the assistant for me at that point, Aaron Nielsen and Andre Lockhart, and the team, the starting 5 was Trey, Bridgie, Charles, Kadiri, and Darius, and that was our entire squad. And the emotions were extremely raw, because to lose, Fab's still in hospital at this point. No one knows how well he's going to be. Joe's facing a potentially career-ending injury. We didn't know at the time that whether he'd get back or not. And when you're around guys all season who've been so committed to everything, if you're a professional player, that takes a lot out of you, because a professional player has always got one eye on their mortality. They fall over in the wrong place and something goes wrong, then that can change their entire life at any point. So it's a very, very insecure and difficult profession in that way. And so for all those guys, knowing that two of their colleagues and 2 of their mates had gone down through different reasons, in front of them, when it could easily have been them, that brings a lot more emotion into it than you would ordinarily bring in. Then you add in the fact that it's a top of the table game, so there's a bit more emotion to it there. And then you add in the fact that it's Glasgow, and Glasgow had styled themselves as our rivals for a number of years. And to be fair, they played us in a lot of finals, and we've been fortunate enough to come out on top. And I think at the time of this game, we'd won 12 or 13 games consecutive against them, and I think we ended up winning 23 games consecutive against them. But there we go. But this was their time as far as they were concerned. They were top of the league. They were 16-4. You know, we were hobbled. We were struggling. We were vulnerable. You know, it's that time where the animal is wounded, and it's your opportunity to go in for the kill and finish them off. And the game kind of went a little bit like that. And the guys who watch the game after this will see it. But like many of these games in this series, we were down a long way, and the commitment that and the togetherness that the guys on court showed to come back in that game, and the emotion that came out at the end of the game, because it really was, you know, an emotional game for the fans. It was an emotional game for Paul and Sam Blake were there. It was an emotional game for the players who were winning it, for the people that weren't able to be there, obviously. And, you know, as Chuck said, I think on a previous thing, that they weren't our rivals, but they want to be our rivals. So it was important for us that we kept it that way. And all those things made it a really special day. You know, one of those days that you do look back on and remember. And it wasn't just because of the fact that you win a basketball game, it was everything that went into that, everything that was around that, all the circumstances that led into it. Didn't help us much because we lost the next. Fab came back and we lost 2 games in a row. On the Friday, he couldn't play, but we had a ridiculous schedule. We played Glasgow on the Sunday, then we had to play the really good Sheffield team that we saw last week on the Nest team. Had to play them on the Friday night, and then we had to go to Leicester on the Saturday. In the meantime, I just remember it as being the busiest 3 weeks of my life. I had a real job to do. I had we had to sign a new player. We had to recruit a new player, and we got Reggie Jackson back within a week. So there was a lot of that going on because Joe went down, so we needed to find somebody else. So it was recruiting another player. It was trying to manage the practices and deal with all the practices and the team, and the scouting reports and all of that, and all the while balancing a 2-year-old boy at home. So, you know, it was a crazy 3 or 4 weeks, absolutely crazy. Bridgie and Chuck and Darius, those guys were great because they kind of led the way in practice, and they maintained the standards that they'd set themselves, you know, and Chuck kind of went into his zone whereby he was like, we ain't going to lose. We're not going to lose. And he doesn't really talk to many people, but he makes sure that he's ready to play and he wins. And we've seen that from Charles time and time, and his ability to do that when the opportunity was there for everybody just to say, oh, this is too hard, it's not our year, we'll just leave it at that, you know, and just take one on the chin and leave. That opportunity was there, but the spirit of the players and the commitment of them meant that it never happened. And that was a lot to the people who were with us and the fans who were with us, who wouldn't allow that to happen. We subsequently lost the league by a game against Mersey Tigers. We probably should have actually won it that day. It was a game at Sports Central, and they won the game on our floor to win the league. And we actually didn't play that well that night. But by that point, we actually brought Drew Lasker in as well, because Trey had broken his foot. So about a month after all this happening, Trey breaks his foot. We've got to find yet another player. So we end up finishing the season with a totally different team to the one that we started it with. And we still should have got through the playoff final. Then we're up by about 15 in Sheffield in the second leg of the semi-final on aggregate to get through to the playoff final. And Reggie went down and broke his toe. And at that point, Reggie couldn't play either. So literally, you know, the whole state of the team, it was just absolutely destroyed beyond repair. And at that point, we just couldn't sustain it, and lost that game in Sheffield. It was just one injury too many, but there were so many blows that season. But actually, looking back on it, the reality was the only team that beat us in the league was a Mersey Tigers team. It was a really, really talented, athletic, well-coached team, albeit one that couldn't survive because the owner couldn't pay the players. So they couldn't. So the team themselves were fantastic and played through the uncertainty of not getting paid, but the organisation didn't survive. So that was the only team that beat us.
I don't want to give away the score in what is a great clash for people to watch. It is a very, very tight game. And I think what's been really interesting to hear from yourself and a lot of the players over the course of the last few Nestons in particular, Bridgie mentioned it just in this week's chat with Paul as well, that this team and the players at this time, he talked about it as had a button that they could push, and I think that you mentioned about a couple of other players and some changes, bringing in Drew Lasker and looking towards the next season, which as anyone who's been on our Wikipedia article or the club history page will see as being a phenomenal season for our Eagles. They did really set something up, even though they didn't win anything in this particular season. They built towards something bigger in the future and kept that button they could push kind of alive and well.
Yeah, well, it's a continuation of, it comes down from the top. The top is Paul, and then the kind of the line manager is Fab. So it comes down, and ultimately when he went to hospital, I had to try and do it a little bit, but then I have to lean on the experience of the players and the commitment of the players. So, every nature abhors a vacuum. So the minute that there's a gap in where things should be, that's when things start falling apart. And the players are used to being drilled by Fab and used to him being on them day after day after day. And it'd be perfectly understandable if when he's not there, they decide, oh, well, look, it's not going to be our fault if we lose. We're going to give it our best shot, but what will be, will be. And in fact, what we had in those guys, the pride that we had in those guys wasn't that. The pride was to say, no, we're not going to lose. This is not a game we're going to lose. And that ultimately comes down from the top, because that's the way you handle yourself every single day. And also the natural competitive element of the guys. So, we played the whole second half of this game with 5 players, because in the game, from memory, Andre got injured. He got knocked over in the first quarter, so he wasn't able to play. And Aaron was coming back off an injury, so he didn't play much at all. And there's no way in the world that the guy should have won that game. And I didn't do much. I just stood there, played the 2-3 zone, stand there and just and give Trey the ball and give Charles the ball. And every time the opposition made a play, our guys came straight back at them. And that is the phrase. It was coined by Rudy Tomjanovich of the Houston Rockets, which was never underestimate the heart of a champion. And even when you're not the champion, even when you don't end up being the champion, that doesn't mean you haven't got the heart of a champion. And we had guys who won so much, and who were committed to winning, and Trey's been an MVP, and we've seen Bridgie picking up all the trophies and having his best games in big games, and Charles is just Charles and just incredible. And then Darius, who was coming into his own in his first year without Leonard, and then Kadiri, who was feeding off their energy. And they had the hearts of a champion. They didn't get a medal at the end of the season, but they had the hearts of a champion that year. Because to go through your player coach and you go in hospital and there's not knowing whether he's going to come out or not. Your talisman 2 guard, falling down on the home court, as if nothing had happened to him to tear his Achilles. Then your previous league MVP two-time league MVP, breaking his foot. Yeah, and to deal with all of those things, in the course of 2 months, when you're playing games, 3 games a week, and to still stick at it and to still be there right at the end, that was as a result of primarily Fab's ethos and primarily Paul's ethos, and that's why when you watch all these seasons going back, and when the fans watch the seasons going back between 2005 and 2019, we had 15 seasons, and I think we were certainly in the top 3 in all 15 seasons. Between 2005 and 2017, we were in the top 2 for 13 consecutive seasons. That means you're giving yourself a chance at winning. And if you're giving yourself a chance at winning, then the chips fall where they may, as Fab would say. So that all comes down to a winning environment, a winning mentality. And people don't see that when they look at players' stats, and they don't see that when they look at players' athleticism. They see the dunks, they see the showy things, but what people don't necessarily see is the hard work and the gritty stuff that needs to be done to make other players better, which puts you into a coherent team, which helps you to win. And we were blessed over the years with a number of guys who were part of that, and a head coach who was extraordinarily good at putting them all together and having them put their egos aside. And that's a testament to that is the results.
Well, it's a great game for us to see.
I agree. I also get slightly excited at the end. I don't know if that's on the video, but I still remember it.
Well, let's hope. And I think it's just a great point again in the club's history, just to make sure that we remember everything that sort of took place during that season, and why things, as you say, the chips fell as they may in that season, and of course setting up what is a really great season when we get into the 11-12 campaign as well. But Dave, thank you again for going down memory lane with us, and just looking back at just an amazing time in the club's history. It was the first season with Esh Group as our main sponsor, the first season at Sports Central, your second season as our assistant coach, and yeah, it's really setting up, isn't it? A great season that we've got ahead for people to see in episodes starting on Wednesday.
Yeah, good.
Well, here we go. Let's get into it. We go back to Sunday, the 12th of February, 2011, to the Glasgow Rocks' then home arena of the Kelvin Hall, as Dave was saying, in Glasgow. And, well, I just hope that you enjoy the game. Stay home, protect the NHS and social care, save lives, and here we go. What a game we've got for you tonight. Enjoy.
You just stand as you're going to take a seat. First one. Less than normal. Chuck him out! I would! Make it a fair game! Make a dummy up, Corbin! Shot clock. Go on. Oh, Kadiri. KD. I hope it was KD. Bye-bye. What do you call on Darren? What do you call on Darren? Good job. Still whinging? Just tee him! I love the Rockets for that, especially when I'm playing these things. Coming over the hill is a monster. I'm shocked they haven't reset the shot clock. Really are.
Defense! 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 Defense!
One, Trey!
Time left, so you can't come on the course. You can't send it back off.
Bad call, mate! What have you called? You've gone for the sensible decision of no time left.
This looks even worse now.
For 16 seconds, Dodgy. Pretend you're talking about something. Come on, Trey!
Wow! Miles behind the line. What line were you looking at? What line was he looking at? No. I don't know when a step back fadeaway can ever be a 2-pointer when you start.
2 shots.
I'd like to see that again.
It's not on camera. Here he comes! The scorer. Get in! Get in, Darius. Oh, yeah. Oh, ball! Not really. Trouble! Get in! Get in, Dotty lad! Bye, EJ! Oh, bye! Okay, Dave! Not paying attention. glasses again, haven't you? Foul! That's a foul! What's the matter with you? Way stripped. Time out, Dave. Go and argue with them. Reset the shot clock, what's the matter? They haven't reset the shot clock, what's the matter?
Defense! 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 Defense!
Barak. Hallelujah! Have you found your whistle, Neil? Trouble, get it! Bye, Mubarak! Oh, it's Copeland. Let's go, Eagles! Come on!
Eagles! 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 Eagles!
9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Mubarak. Don't get it. Hit it, Charles. Yes, Bridget. Well done, Bridget. Head in. Oh. Shot clock.
Now it's on.
Defense! 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 Defense!
What's the matter still? Cole not go your way? What a shame. Oh, Sterling. Oh, that was close. Eyes on the ball, lads, eyes on the ball. We know the shot. Shoot, man, come on. Defense! Let's go! Defense! Vivas. Go Eagles, go! Train. No. Defense! 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 Go Trey. Nice. Get the foul. Defense! Defense! Oh, he's in his spot. Come on, Eagles! Advantage! Defense! 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 Coblin's on 3. Was that on Coblin? Really? I thought it was Davis. That's what I thought. Mike! Bye, Mike! Bye, Mike! Cheerio! Third. The problem is, King was probably better. Defense! 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 Oh! Hey! Trouble! That's a trouble! He shot the ball. That's the travel ball himself. Oh no, yes! Get the ball in the basket now! Get him away from the basket! Yes, he can! Defense! 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 Good Charles! Well done, Charles! Well, who do you support? He done that, you seen it? Good God! Defense! 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 Hey! He loves himself! He loves himself! He loves himself! There we go! Let's go, Trey! Shot clock. Oh, I haven't touched it. Didn't see that. All of them. Defense! 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 He's down! Defense! 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 It's not going anywhere. Take a seat, King Ma. Is he on free? Good, is it? Leave him on. Hold on, you're taking note where the skunks are. Defense! 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 Faster! Defense! 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 Take the drum off him. Take the drum off him. Charles. Defense! 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 Trouble! Defense! Defense! In fact, leave him on.
Go on, take a seat, King Mo.
No, leave him on. We'll get 5 on him.
Hey, you've got nobody else.
Bye, King Ma. Bye. Bye. Defense. 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 Trouble. Ready. It's every time. Every time he gets the ball, it's trouble. Go, Dre. Side. 5, 4. Bailed out. Still.
Tremendous, 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 tremendous.
In the penalty yet, because they seem to have been on the line an awful lot. No, he's called on Fantasia still. Fantasia's on still. Stupid pass. Vivas, sorry. And team penalty.
Defense! Defense! Defense!
Watch the shooter. Third.
Defense! 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 Defense!
Defense! Defense! Defense! Get in! Get in! Great team!
Get it over, Trey! Come on, Trey!
Come on! Come up! Move a little bit!
Come on, Trey!
substitution. King.
Come on! Come on, Trey! Get the stuff from under the basket, man! Defense! 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 Six seconds! 6 seconds! Come on! 5, 4. Defense! 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 Please don't call it on Charles. Charles. Defense, Mubarak. Defense. 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 Call on us. Call on us.
Oh, yeah, that's not our call. It's our
Really?
call.
Point it downwards.
Come on, man! How far is that?
Oh, it's on them. 24. Leave us.
How far is that?
Put a sub on. Put Andre on and shoot them. Put a sub.
Order! Tremendous! 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 Watch it! Defense! 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 Trey, shoot it! What about the Rockets? Going to be ejected, Lynn. Bye-bye.
Off the court! Off the court! What have we not done there, man? Loser!
It's telling the Rockets to move. Time out, Eagles. They just stood there when he shot it, shook it. Defense, lads. Three wants a foul, not getting one. Defense! 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 Oh, hey! Hit him! Don't see, are you blind? Honestly, are you blind? What's the matter with you?
Dodgy still on over the ball!
Defense! Defense! 5 seconds! That's quite a good foul, that. Excellent foul. Excellent foul. Oh yeah, hit it. How many seconds? Put on the ground. On the ground. Defense. Defense. Defense.